Tell Me More podcast is being recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. Welcome to Tell Me More, where we have conversations about the good, the bad and the real. I'm your host, Olivia Molly Rogers. Our guest today is Taryn Brumfitt, who is the founder of the Body Image Movement. I came across Taryn back in 2016 when I saw her documentary Embrace, and it really stuck with me. Since that year, Taryn has gone on to reach over 200 million people with her message about body image. She's written best-selling books, she released the documentary Embrace Kids, and she became Australian of the Year in 2023. Taryn's mission is to help people to stop hating their bodies and start embracing them. And in this conversation, she gives us some really tangible tips to do that. Taryn, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I have been a fan of your work for many, many years. Embrace came out in 2016 and I actually went to a premiere viewing of it and I absolutely loved it. It was actually a bit of a hard watch for me though because I was in the middle of an eating disorder when I watched it. And I don't know if I've ever, because I know we've messaged over the years, but I don't know if I told you that, but it was a big part of the reason that I started my recovery journey. So I have to say thank you.
Oh my gosh, like 10 seconds in, I feel like crying. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people felt very seen after watching that film.
Yeah.
Because there was some very brave women who shared their stories about how they felt about their bodies. So thank you for sharing that again.
Oh, well, that means the world for creating it. I would love for you to start by telling the audience how you would describe yourself to a stranger and perhaps the work that you do.
Oh, well, it depends on who, but I mean, as in professionally, who are you? Is that, oh gosh.
You just met someone.
Tighten up on that. That's a wide open question.
Well, I know, but I think that's the way I like it because I think the way that you define yourself is quite interesting. It could be anything.
Well, it depends. I mean, if I just want to get out of, not get out of it, but sometimes it's easy to say I'm a photographer or I'm a creative or I'm a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And then other times I want to flex and I'll say I'm the former Australian of the Year or it depends on who I'm speaking with. But I am first and foremost a mum of 4 kids and, that's my heart. That's my world and I'm a keynote speaker.
You do a lot of incredible work. That was very brief for the amount that you do.
Well, sometimes it's really awkward actually talking about yourself. It's like I've just stepped off stage. I've just delivered a big keynote and every time they read your bio, your bio always sounds really good. But when you're standing there and it's being read out, you're just like, oh, cringe. And I actually have a laugh with audiences and I often say that is the best of me. But there is an entirely different side and I often joke that I never would be Australian of the Year if there was smartphones back when I was a teenager because I was very naughty. But there's also this really cool quote by a man called Steve Furtick and he says, don't compare your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. And I love that saying, that one, and be so good they can't ignore you by Steve Martin. Those 2 quotes have really shaped my career and my life. And I think we so often compare who we are and, our behind the scenes with other people's highlight reel. We play comparisonitis and it makes us feel crap. So I just like to be able to show up in the world and be as real as I can. So moving on to the next question. It's not who are you?
We'll be right back after this quick ad break. The Lululemon Fast and Free running collection might just be the most comfortable running gear ever. From the moment I tried them, it felt like nothing. Seriously, the ultra lightweight fabric gives you that naked sensation but still holds you exactly where you need it. No pulling, no adjusting, no distractions, just me, the pavement, and a totally clear head. I've been getting back into some very slow running and I'm so excited to feel that runner's high again. There's not much better feeling and great running gear adds so much to it. If you're looking for running gear that you don't notice when you run, this is it. Check them out at lululemon.com.au. Now back to the show. 2016, when Embrace came out, that was the year, right?
Yeah.
Obviously there was a period of time where you were actually creating the film though, so you didn't just start doing this work in 2016. it all launched from a photo. What year was that published?
Must have been 2013.
Wow. Can you talk to me about that? Because I'm sure a lot of the audience has seen Embrace. If they haven't, they should go and watch it. But for those who haven't, I would love for you to tell me that story.
So you know how we normally see before and after photographs, there's a woman or a man in a larger body in the before, they lose weight and miraculously they become happy when they've lost weight. Traditional before and afters. I switched mine around after I had my 3 children. I hated my body. I wanted to get my body back. I tried everything and I couldn't. I was going to have surgery, decided to not have surgery. And I was just stuck in this body that I hated. And I said to my trainer at the gym, like, what can we do? And she said, you should enter a bodybuilding competition. I was like, that's wild and that's never happening. And then it did. And I got this body that I had so wanted for such a long time. And for my body shape to look like that, it just wasn't sustainable. And I was actually pretty miserable. As you would know, counting calories, being obsessed with food, not being able to be present in conversations because you're thinking about, I don't know, what you look like or when the next gym session is or what you're eating or what someone else is eating or what you're missing out on. Like it's misery 101. So yeah, my before and after photo went really viral. And at the time, you know, I was a photographer. I had my young children. I had no interest in being a public figure whatsoever. And I remember like the Today Show rang me and they wanted to interview me and I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, and then did it. And then the next minute it was chaos and it's not stopped since. And I'm really glad because I think I'm probably the best person to do this work because I'm not the shiny stuff, you know, that's around doesn't really take me off course. Like I'm now here to help and support other people and I love being creative and I love the work that we do. And, you know, we've got a charity. We've reached millions of people. I've got a great team around me. Like we're doing really great work. And there's been a few, how do I describe it? There's been a few things along the way that perhaps would have been an easier choice or, you know, something lucrative or something that would have been great for me to have chosen to have done, but it's always been about other people. So I think that's what's got me to this position today and it's felt really good.
It's very impressive. I know you said that you didn't go out with the intention to be a public figure. What was the intention of the post?
Just to help people.
Yeah.
You know, I'd been speaking to some friends and they were saying to me, Taryn, you're back in because after I stepped off stage, my body went back to what it was before but I was happy and it was the body that I was so miserable in. And I just learned to adopt a new way of thinking about eating, you know, for fueling my body and moving my body in a way that's not punishing myself. And I just found this really lovely balance that worked. But it confused some friends of mine because they were like, but how can you find peace? And I guess being creative, putting those photos together sort of seemed like a good visual way of telling a story and who you know, who would have known that was going to happen.
Yeah. Would you say when you were talking about the misery that you experienced when you trained to be this bodybuilder, would you say that you had an eating disorder?
No, it was disordered eating, and it was quite obsessional. You know, I was obsessed, but it didn't get to the point where I couldn't get myself out of it on my own.
Yeah. And you don't experience any of that anymore.
Mm-mm.
That's so good. I think as someone who has had an eating disorder, that I find that really fascinating because I think people talk about recovery and being recovered, and I've said it before on the podcast, I don't think I will ever be recovered. I think I will always be in recovery where the eating disorder brain has, like, I would say it's shrunk, but it can grow at times and I have to sort of push back against the noise and make sure I'm doing behaviours that don't feed it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We really need to protect ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
And as we get older, we understand how in more ways to do that. But it's not easy when you know, young girls and even boys are younger and they're learning about the world and the world's been pretty cruel and been pretty forceful with some very unhelpful messaging. It's not hard to take people off course. But I'm always I always feel such optimism by the fact that we weren't born into the world hating our bodies. You know, when you see young people, when they hear music, they dance, or when they see a sprinkler, they're running through it nudie. They don't care. Like, there's this level of joy and peace and liberation that we see in young people, and it's just the job is to keep them on that course. You know, perhaps not doing nudie runs as an adult, but well, why not? But it's just that reflection of that's the way that we were meant to be. We weren't meant to be at war with our body. We were meant to be at peace, and we're here to do and contribute and enjoy this very short moment in time that we get.
Prior to training for the bodybuilding, you talked about being booked in for surgery because you really hated your body. Can you tell me what that actually looked like on the daily, the hating the body?
Gosh, it's such a long time ago now, but it was not wanting to be in photos, not wanting to be intimate with my husband, just giving myself such a hard time for the way that things looked after having, 3 children in 3.5 years, just pulling apart and tearing down myself, in my head, the things that I would say, comparing how I thought I looked to how I thought other people looked, wanting and obsessing about having her body. I think that was the real killjoy, is just this constant lens of I don't want to be in this body.
And then when you got to the bodybuilding body, how many similarities were there from what you were experiencing prior to that and then when you were in that different body?
Yeah, and just to clarify for your listeners, the bodybuilding body, it was a bikini competition. So it was the very stereotypical bikini body that we see celebrated. So that was the body that I got. But even then, I remember the day of the competition still looking at my stomach, and someone was trying to tape down, the skin of my stomach into the very tiny bikini. There was always still something that could be better. The comparison between the two, both were equally exhausting, I think. Just being at war with your body is exhausting. And it looks really different for everyone, that it feels very much the same. It's draining, it's debilitating, it takes you out of your life. It's very hard to connect with other people. It's very hard to love when you don't love yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to what you explain of getting to that point where you think that once you hit that goal body, the happiness will be there. And that's what you're sold. I think, the diet industry teaches us that if you get to a certain size, you are a better person, you are happier, they live these shiny, happy lives. It always looks so amazing.
Doesn't it?
And you see people with these perfect bodies online and they look really happy. So you're like, okay, well, if I can get to that point, suddenly all my problems will go. I'm going to love myself, love my body. Everyone else will love me. It's going to be great. But when I got to my skinniest, I was my most depressed because you can't it's not that simple. And there's always something more you can change or that you think you need to change. The goalpost just keeps shifting.
Yeah, it does.
And it's such a depressing place to be.
Yeah.
How can we fix that though? Because that is such a common experience. I know that from the movie, the documentary, something like 90% of women hate their bodies.
It's a disaster. I think what Celeste Barber, actually, she was an executive producer on the second film that I made, and something that she said really resonated is it's about having balance. So it's not about not caring about what you look like. It's okay to care about what you look like. It's okay to do your hair or do your makeup or whatever clothes you choose to wear, but it's just about the balance of for me, I describe it as experience over appearance, and how I feel is more important than how I look. And it's just about considering what that means to you. So if you are not, if you're going to an event and you're so wrapped up in what you look like, I've been there, then you're not going to have as much fun or connection, or you won't be the person on the dance floor, or just it robs you of a good time and enjoyment. And I think that's a really conscious decision that we can make every single day, that we can make a commitment to focusing more on how we feel than how we look and striking the balance. And I think Celeste puts it as it's like her PS. How she feels leads on her decision making. How she looks, it's a bit of a PS in life.
I've heard you speak before about reframing thoughts as well, and I feel like that's really powerful. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, it was one of probably the most powerful things that I did that everyone can do, and it's so simple. So reframing, the parts of our body that we can not like and that we give a hard time to and we spend a lot of time thinking about. For me, it was my arms, and I can't show you today, but if I wave to somebody, like I'd be like, bye, and then I finish waving and my arms under here are still waving.
They're super friendly.
They are so friendly, even though I'm like, I can lift 70 kgs and these arms are strong, they still sort of flap about. I used to hate my arms so much. Like I would never wear a sleeveless dress, heaven forbid. And just the reframe on this is I get to hug, my kids with these arms. I'm really grateful to have them. And legs, they've got cellulite or stretch mark. They've run marathons and they take me hiking, Mount Lofty, once a week. I'm up a hill somewhere. And I just think, if we can just find the appreciation for our body, we don't have to love our body. It's so important that everyone listening understands that body neutrality is as equally as powerful. So there's a spectrum of this as well. But if we can, completely lost my train of thought. It's the new perimenopause thing I'm on, and then it just goes.
That's fine.
I mean, you should actually keep that in, so in case there's an older listener, she'll be like, "Oh, thank God, I feel so seen." Hang on, up the hill. Nah, it's gone. Next question.
We were talking about reframing. So your legs, even if they do have cellulite, you can flip it and not hate them. You can be grateful for them because they.
Yeah. And I think
take
also,
you up the hills.
Thank you. Keep that in. Do not edit that out. Otherwise you're shaming me. The whole concept though of body neutrality, and for a long time there was this whole hashtag love your body. And even in the beginning, because I didn't know what I was doing, I was just like, I hated my body. I learned to love my body. Now I want everyone to love their body. And that's because I'm a bit of a black or white, all or nothing, go hard, go home kind of person. And then someone tapped me on the shoulder a number of years ago and I was like, I can't love my body.
It's too extreme.
But I could like it
or
I could be okay with it. And I think that's kind of a good place to get to. And that's why we talk a lot about body acceptance, accepting how our bodies look. And you might not like parts of your body, and that's okay. You could try a reframe, but it doesn't have to be such a battle.
What is it when you did a lot of research speaking to women prior to the documentary, but then also after the documentary, was it Flinders that rolled it out and did research based off of it? Is that right?
Yeah, so that's actually how I met Dr. Zali Yeager, who's the co-executive director of the Embrace Collective. Mm-hmm. So we have a health promotion charity focused on the prevention of eating disorders and body image issues. So Zali and her colleague, Professor Ivanka Pritchard, watched the film Embrace in a cinema, and their whole career had been focused on body image, and they saw the profound impact that this film had on women. And so they reached out to me. Zali reached out and said, we'd like to do a study, which they did. And it was published in a medical journal, and it showed that the film increased body appreciation in women. And that was really exciting because I made the film based on a before and after went viral. I'm getting all these messages, over 7,000 emails and messages from people. I need to do something with this. And that was really driven by my dad's upbringing of when you know something that can help other people, it's very much your duty and responsibility to get involved. Like, don't overlook an opportunity to support and help other people. So that's, the film was made, that research was published, but then everyone just said, oh, I wish I had seen this when I was younger. And for such a long time, we sort of felt like we were trying to fix problems that had been with some people for decades plus. And then so we started talking about the opportunity of getting in really early. And we know film is such a great way to get into people's hearts and minds and, you know, storytelling. It's been around for forever. And we decided to make the Embrace Kids film. And now we've got 6 pieces of research attached to not just that film, but the resources we put around and wrapped around that film to make sure that when someone saw it and enjoyed it, whether it's a sporting club, in the home, at a school, that there's more resources just beyond enjoying a film and feeling good, but the next steps, like what do we do from here?
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to ask, when you did the research with the women who watched the film or prior to watching the film, what was the most common response when you asked how women felt about their bodies?
Oh my gosh, this even to this day, I still think about the Vox Pops and just I've had so many conversations with women all over the world. The mean, horrible things that they say, the disgusting, the fat, the ugly, the vitriol that they feel for this, you know, incredible body that does so much for us. Really heartbreaking and really sidelines people from their lives. And, you know, my brother, I often talk about my brother because I think it was probably one of the most defining moments in my life. He was a heroin addict and he died from his addiction. And I remember seeing him in the coffin, and it's something that's, you know, it's pretty full on seeing someone, you know, that you love so deeply, like your sibling, no longer living. And I just, you know, that was a defining moment for me. And I just want people to understand that it's 28,000 days they get if they're lucky. Not everyone gets that. I think my brother got about 10,000. Princess Diana got about 13,000. A friend of mine's child went to sleep a couple of years ago. He got 5,000. If we are afforded these wonderful days on the planet, then we've just got to remind ourselves daily that we're not here to hate our bodies and say horrible things. And I think what I want everyone who's listening to know is that there are ways to support you. You don't have to do this. And my goodness, you're not doing it alone. I think it's a very common conversation, and you would have heard many conversations over the years. But what a great, so how can I describe this? What a waste. What a waste of our lives. And I think that's what my brother's death did for me. It's like, we just can't do this. We need to soak it up. We need to say yes. We need to get on the dance floor. We need to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. We need to have fun. We need to not take it too seriously. It's like, care about how you look, but not too much. Just experience life. And I think for those women and girls and men and boys too, this is for everyone, that are feeling deep shame about their bodies, that's really heartbreaking, and it doesn't have to be that way. We've just got to keep talking about this issue until it's not an issue. But I'm on a tangent now, but if I don't say this in this interview, it'll be a crime. People always say, like, what can we do? What can we do? And it's probably your last question. You're like, damn it, why is she talking about this now? But that's the way it is. If we could all just not say anything negative about our bodies or anyone else's bodies again, how different would the world look? Oh, imagine if we just stopped talking about our bodies in a negative way.
The best, or even a positive way.
That's true.
To other people. Like, I have really struggled when I've had periods where my weight has fluctuated naturally after having an eating disorder, and people will comment. And even if they have good intention with their comment, you look amazing, for example. Oh my God, have you lost weight? You look great. You're looking really skinny. What have you done? You look so good.
Yeah.
They're reinforcing that, one, they're focusing on my weight.
Yeah, that's right.
Why? Why do you care how much I weigh? And then two, that I look better and I am better if I'm smaller.
That's right.
So it's both ways, I think, like commenting negatively and also commenting positively.
So true. And I think that's one of the things we talk about at the Embrace Collective a lot, is just reduce appearance-based commentary in the workplace, with our friends, Because, we were just talking today, we've launched Embrace at Work. We launched it in New York a couple of months ago, body image in the workplace. No one's ever talked about it because it's like, what? Why would we talk about bodies in the workplace? And it's like, well, because everyone's got a body and no one leaves their issues at the door when they walk through the workplace. And what's been great for us is that we've got some great research data points. The Deloitte Access Economics report back in 2022 showed that in the United States there's a $69 billion loss, productivity loss based on how people are feeling about their appearance. So it's great to have that kind of data point because people and organisations are going to listen about the importance of feeling good about our bodies. But more importantly, in the workplace, the conversations around dieting, what people are eating, like in the tea room, it's rife with issues. And we don't know what someone else is going through when we start talking about, are you're on a diet today? Or like, oh, you're having a hamburger for like, we just got to stop. We've got to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
As you would know.
It's not just, the comments on appearance. It is also very much the comments on food. And I had that happen. I was on a flight not too long ago and the air hostess was passing out sausage rolls or something and pies maybe. I'd just eaten before I got on the plane. I wasn't hungry. And she passed them out and my partner took one and she said, and would you like one? And I said, I'm good, thank you. And she said, oh yeah, you look like you wouldn't eat these.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, my partner and I spoke about it and I was fuming and I didn't say anything to her, but I said to him, she really shouldn't make comments like that. And he said, oh, she probably meant it as a comment, like, you look good. I said, I don't care how she meant it. She just shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be commenting on how much people eat, whether it is supposed to be positive or negative. I find that so frustrating and it is so common.
Yeah, that's right. And I think people are often, don't get me wrong, there's arseholes in the world, but most people are well-meaning and they don't mean to hurt somebody or say the wrong thing, but it's an education opportunity that we've got. So we can all be understanding of the unseen trauma or the unseen challenges that people are going through when it comes to their bodies, their body image, eating disorders.
Yeah. What are some things we can comment on that don't focus on appearance? If people, then they think, oh, well, I can't give a compliment because I'm going to get myself into trouble.
Yeah, I mean, in the workplace, there's so many opportunities to connect on a really deeper level and to help people feel seen. And, in our office, we talk about this a lot. There was someone just recently who makes really complex issues really simple. And that's actually a bit of a craft in itself. Or there's the energy that people bring to a table or a meeting or a conversation. There are so many non-appearance-based compliments that we can give, but it's just about learning to practice them because we are so used to saying, oh my gosh, you look amazing, or I love this, and it's all about what we look like. So it's a practice, and it's one of the things we talk about in Embrace at Work is that you need to do a little bit of research, you need to come up with a couple, write them down, practice them, see how they feel. But it is actually really nice to accept a compliment that has nothing to do with what you look like. Like that is actually real human connection. When you're seeing somebody for their gentleness or their spirit or their energy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like that's a really cool thing.
What about hair and clothes and those kinds of things though? Like I feel like they're a bit safer. Do you think it's okay to comment?
100% they're safer. Like could we often talk about that because Zali and I, we also started, so Zali is the co-executive director of the charity and she and I started Feel Good Fashion because the fashion industry it's been problematic over the years. And so we love fashion and we love talking about fashion and it's fun. So I definitely agree that it's safer.
Because as you're talking, I'm thinking I always say to Steph, who's sitting there, she has the best outfits. So I feel like whenever I walk in, I'm like, you look amazing, but I don't know. I'm like, am I contradicting myself because I say we shouldn't comment on these things, but I'm not commenting on your size. I'm commenting on how cool you look.
That is so true. And do you know what the good thing that you mentioned that is some people get so scared, like am I right? Am I wrong? Am I going to do we need to approach all of this with just being a bit sensible and not give ourselves a hard time and do our best. And I think fashion is fun.
We'll be right back after this quick ad break. The Lululemon Fast and Free running collection might just be the most comfortable running gear I have ever worn. From the second I put it on, it felt like nothing in the best way. The fabric is ultra lightweight and it gives you that barely there feeling, but still supports you exactly where you need it. No pulling, no adjusting, no distractions, just me, the road ahead, and a clear mind. I'm slowly getting back into running post-marathon and I'm so excited to have that runner's high again. There's not much better feeling, and having the right running gear adds so much to it. If you are looking for running gear that you don't notice when you run, this is it. Check them out at lululemon.com.au. Now back to the show. What about kids? I've got a couple of beautiful nieces and 2 nephews as well now. Very lucky. My eldest niece, Winnie, is now 4. Mm-hmm. And she's so cute and funny and full of personality. She loves fashion. She loves getting dressed up and showing off her outfit. We mainly FaceTime because they live in Adelaide. I find it hard not to comment on her appearance in a positive way. Mm-hmm. But I know I shouldn't because I don't want to reinforce that is the most important thing about her, because it is definitely not. Mm. Can you talk about the language we should be using with kids?
Yeah, it's such a it's so good just to even recognize that and be aware of that, because just by your awareness, you're going to do better. So, yeah, this one for me is there's slight tweaks in our communication that's really simple but very powerful. So, for example, if a young girl like your niece says, do I look pretty in this dress? It's about you really quickly going, oh, I just want to know, what are you going to do in the dress? So we're not sort of tripping ourselves up, but it's always about functionality and what we're doing with our bodies, these incredible machines that do so much. And I mean, when I talk to kids, I get so excited in schools about, our eyes that can see and ears that can hear, and, our tummies that are digesting the last meal that we have. Or last week I cut my arm and it healed itself on its own. These bodies, there's so many reasons to be in awe of our bodies. So I think it's just about just slight tweaks in the way that we communicate and just make it less about appearance and more about doing.
Yeah, that is really good advice. I recently, preparing for this interview, I watched Embrace for Kids. Is it called Embrace for Kids?
Embrace Kids.
I loved the interviews with the kids where they were speaking about the issues they face when it comes to their bodies. But I heard you also talking on another podcast about the stats around children, and I think it was something like children between the age of 5 to 12 are now dissatisfied with their bodies, or what? Can you please tell me what the stat is, because I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, we know that 77% of young people are in body image distress, and we know the rates of eating disorders has doubled between the ages of 5 and 12 since 2019. So it's a big wild mess for our young people, and it's really sad.
It's terrifying.
It is. But the hope is that if we can get in early enough with our young people and talk about the functionality of our bodies and being kind to one another and finding real role models in life and nourishing our body for fuel to do all the things that we want to do, there is definite hope there. And yeah, I really enjoyed as a film director hanging out with these brilliant young kids and listening to their stories. And for me, that just felt like lots of possibilities. So there are these really scary statistics that should alarm us. And we now have had funding to create resources that we've got 6 pieces of research from Flinders University to show the efficacy of the work that we've got in schools, in sporting clubs, in the home, keeping kids playing sport for longer through the, masterclass with Libby Trickett. We have so many resources now that we can get this out. They're scalable. So yes, scary statistics, but oh my gosh, we've got the solutions. And so we've just got to go as hard and as wide as we can to make sure that every child is introduced to the resources, but that every adult and every teacher and every parent understands the responsibility that they have when they are around young children, because they are learning from us. And parents always just want to talk about social media, and I get it. I mean, I have 4 teenagers. I get it. But
surely these 5-year-olds are not on social media.
No, but they're hearing a lot of conversations in the home. And I think that's why we need to be really mindful about what we're saying and what parents are saying. What I'm saying is they're trying to blame social media. Like parents like to go, oh, it's all social media. It's like, it's not. You are the most powerful person in your child's life. So what you say about your body matters. It's going to have the biggest impact of all. So don't go for the run because you had the chocolate cake. Go for the run because you want to enjoy moving your body. Be very, very careful. And you might need to fake it in front of your kids. You might need to go and have a conversation with an adult. But at all costs, don't talk negatively about bodies in front of kids. They've got a hard enough time as it is.
One of the kids on your documentary said something along the lines of, if I see my mum not liking her legs, then I think, oh, well, I probably shouldn't like mine because I've got my mum's legs. Like, chances are you've got very similar genes.
Yeah.
And if you see your role model, who is your parent most of the time, hating the thing that you have, how can you then learn to not hate that thing?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was, I remember when he said that when we were filming, and I was like, and that's it. Like, that's it right there in that 30 seconds. For anyone who's listening, who is a parent, again, there are resources to support you. And what we don't want people to feel is shame around what they've done or the decisions that they've made, or if anyone's listening going, oh my gosh, I do say negative things. You know what you know until this point, but maybe there's a new path and a new way forward. If you know different, you can behave different, and we've got your back in terms of resources. We've got them all. They're free. We lobbied quite hard with the government to receive federal funding to reach 1 million children in 2023. We did that. Did it again in 24. We're going to do it again in 25. But we've got it all. And the reason why it has been so successful, what we've created is because it's the intersection of research and creativity and a team of brilliant people. And I just want to shout out to them because, I get to do these podcasts and have the conversations on stage, but there's just such a beautiful team of really dedicated people that I work with that have created the resources and have done the research, and it's making a difference.
What does it actually look like?
Which part?
The resources.
Yeah. So, the first thing we did was the Embrace Kids Classroom program, and teachers told us, do not give us anything more to do because we are busy and we're done. So all they need to do is press play, and there's vignettes from the film, and then there's discussion guides afterwards. So that's one. In sports clubs, often there's conversations about bodies when they're playing sport, and what happens is when you're already on show, it's people already watching you, and when we're commenting about people's bodies on the sports field, they don't want to be there. It's not what we should be doing. So we created a sports masterclass. Libby Trickett hosted it, and basically was sharing what we should and shouldn't do when it comes to bodies and how we talk about them. And basically it's to stop talking about bodies. It's 18 minutes and it's like, don't talk about bodies. And even Kieran Perkins, who's a former Olympian, wrote in the foreword for these resources around, we just want our young people to enjoy their bodies and play sport. Not everyone has to be an elite athlete, and we get way too serious with our young people in sport. Let them have some fun. Oh,
I got weighed when I did rowing back in school.
Yeah, it's rowing.
Why? I understand when you are an elite athlete, but we were not elite athletes. We were 14-year-old girls, and in our most vulnerable stage, one of the most vulnerable stages as a woman, I think, and we were weighed, and then the numbers were written up on the wall, and you're literally being compared to your peers, and they were changing, the order of things based on our weight. So it really sticks with you.
Yeah, it does. So we just need to stop all of that. So we've got something in schools. We've got something for sports clubs. We've got masterclass for parents. So in every environment where a child lives, learns or plays, we've got free evidence-informed resources. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So if you're a parent, theembracehub.com.
What do you see the biggest differences? I know we mentioned before in Embrace, the documentary, you spoke to a lot of people in general, but I've probably commented more on women because I'm a woman and you're a woman. And you said that 90% of women are dissatisfied with their bodies. What about men?
Well, there's actually not a lot of research for men because it's been so focused on women for such a long time. But we certainly know that they struggle with their body image, that they're starting to talk about it more. I've been researching, the next doco, and I've been talking about it for a little while now. So it'll be birthed soon. We've just had a lot on our plate, but there definitely needs to be a doco for men because there's a lot of untold stories. It just looks different for men. Often there's a lot of pressure to be tall or to be buff. There's conversations around dad bods that I wonder how helpful they actually are. So I think they've experienced a lot of what we have as well, a lot of the pressure. There's not enough research on men and body image, but we only need to scratch the surface with a conversation with a man to know that they experience the pressures just like we do too.
Yeah, I feel like they often joke about it, but you can see it.
That is so true because when I've asked women about, describe your body in 3 words or how do you feel about your body, like it comes out and it's very there's a lot of feeling there, often a lot of trauma there. And then when I've asked that same question of men, and I've asked, since when I was making Embrace, like 2016, I started asking that question of men at the same time, even though it wasn't filmed. I just wanted to know for myself. And there was always this response of, especially in Australia, my body's great. And then you just pause and just wait and then it would come. Oh, but, I've got this or I've got that or I wish I could change that. So it's a little bit universal.
Bit of bravado, yeah.
Yeah, joking and bravado and you wait and then it'll come.
Yeah.
There's feelings there too.
Yeah. Well, I liked that you spoke to a lot of young boys as well in Embrace Kids, because it definitely doesn't discriminate with the ages, particularly when they're young as well. I want to know how you think we can support people that we love better when it comes to body image, on a smaller scale, day to day, if we have a friend we know is struggling or our partner is often making comments about their body or our parents, whoever it is, how can we support them? What are some little tangible things we could do?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because I think that we have these conversations, these negative conversations about our body and they've become so normalised, and it's only when somebody interjects with, I wonder if we could not talk about our bodies in this way, that opens up the floodgates for some really big, deep conversations. So I think it's just important to be there. We shouldn't always be fixing other people's problems. Sometimes it's really important just to listen. Having the resources like films, and we've got a couple of them now, is a really great heart opener space for people to sit down and watch and then unpack. We always movie review. It's kind of like we're so used to doing that. I know that there have been many, many people around the world who have got their mums to sit down with the film because bless our mums, but often a lot of the problems that we've experienced about our own bodies have come from them, but that's come from society and the pressures that they've experienced as well. So I would definitely say opening up space for a conversation, but also what I often hear people talk about is the negative commentary from others and they don't know what to do with it. Well-meaning relatives is one for sure when it comes to young kids as well. What I've always recommended is actually carving out a time to have a conversation about the way they communicate about bodies or the judgment or whatever it is that relative is doing. And what I've recommended over the years, and it's actually worked beautifully because I've heard a lot of people give me some feedback on this, is, you know, when you're having a conversation with somebody and they're saying, let's just say it's your auntie who comes over and she's always talking about bodies, and you're like, but you shouldn't say that. And then it becomes this sort of ping pong conversation, and it's really ineffective communication. Mm-hmm. And it gets us nowhere. What I've recommended is to call that relative and say, hey, I'd like to have a catch up and have a coffee with you. There's something really important that I want to talk to you about. And immediately that person has elevated what you're about to talk about. They're like, what is it? And you're like, no, I don't want to talk about it over the phone. Or I don't want to talk about it now, but I really want to just carve out half an hour to have this conversation. The person's going to go away and ruminate chronically on this. Like, what is it? They're going to make up all these scenarios.
God, if someone called me and said that, I'd be so stressed.
Right? Yeah. But what you've done is that you've actually elevated what is going to be a really important conversation, and they're going to take it really seriously. And I think that's how serious some of this flippant comments and conversations that are had. I actually think we need to sort of really ring fence that as it's a problem, because if people are coming into your home, like the auntie, the uncle, or whoever it is, and saying things in particular in front of your young children, or you just might want to protect yourself, it can have lifelong negative impacts on them. So a half an hour coffee to say, we need to stop talking about bodies, or I don't like it when you, instead of this ping pong argument that often happens, it's effective to do it in a way, and people feel great discomfort with having difficult conversations. But there'll be more difficult conversations to have when your young people are experiencing what I've seen, you know, at Perth Children's Hospital or in schools, or just, you know, I receive emails every day from parents who are struggling to keep their children happy and healthy. Like that's the consequence of not taking this seriously. And sometimes we've just got to level up the seriousness for some of our family and friends. I think the easiest thing that you can do with your friends and for people who are struggling is make a pact with them. What about if we don't say anything negative about our bodies or anyone else's bodies again? I've seen young women do this in their little girl groups of 3 and 4, and it almost feels like a challenge. And then someone slips up and the other person says, that's not really embracing, or that's not kind. And all of a sudden we're building a culture of a different narrative, and we're doing that with our closest people. And I think that's a real possible thing that we can take control of right now, today, is the way we talk about our bodies.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip. What about social media? Because it's a trap. I love so much about social media. I mean, I use it every day. I think it's such an important way to connect. Mm-hmm. I think following people like you, for example, I love what you share and I find that so helpful and I learn from that. But it is so hard to get the good without being faced with the bad. And there is so much. I'm seeing it every single day. The day on my plate, this is how I stay lean, and the body checks. And how do you keep yourself safe?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to remember with social media that we are actually in control. I know it's really easy to blame the algorithms, but Jamila Jamil does such a great job of articulating it in 4 words in Embrace Kids: block, mute, delete, repeat.
Yeah, I love that.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? And kids really resonate with it. And we're in the driver's seat of social media. I think sometimes we think it's getting done to us, but I mean, we've all heard it: curate your feed, you know, have a social media tidy up. If it's not working for you, it's not feeling good, get off it for a while. Highly addictive too, so it's not always easy. I have a bit of a love-hate. But I think this is really important, that if you are following someone that's not making you feel good, or that you think, I want to change my body because they show up in their feed however they're showing up, day on a plate, etc., just remove them. You just don't need it. Life's hard enough as it is than someone else on your phone telling you how to look or feel or be. So
how do you navigate social media with your kids?
Well, that's complex. So, I mean, there's no easy answer to that. It's really interesting because it almost felt like my eldest is 19 and my second child's 17 and Michaela is 15, going on 16, and then I have a stepson who's 13. So it almost felt like, with the boys, it was on, they were on, it was off, and I lost control. With Michaela, it's been a little bit better because she has been raised to know that if someone's making you feel bad, whether it's in person or online, you need to get out of there because you need to protect your energy. Kids are going to work out a way to get social media, whether we put 16 and up or 13 and up or whatever it is. I just think it's about empowering them to use it effectively, use it wisely, use it for good. What we also know is that it's as little as 7 minutes on Instagram can make us feel anxious and depressed if we're looking at bodies. So if you're looking at bodies on social media, you are inevitably going to feel bad because you're going to compare how you think your body looks to how someone else's body looks. But we know that if you're looking at dog videos and cat videos or whatever it is, or landscapes or travel, that will have a less impact on you. Like, that's a way better experience.
Yeah, definitely. One more question for you. I'd really love to know your thoughts on surgery now. Obviously, you have spoken about how you were booked in to have surgery. There are so many people I'm seeing online now being really honest about what they have had done. Mm-hmm. And I have really mixed feelings about that because part of it, I think it's good to be transparent. Mm-hmm. But then I think all they're doing is saying, here you go, you can take exactly what I've had done and go and get it done yourself. Mm. What are your thoughts about it? And do you think it's helpful for people to be honest about it?
I mean, I always think transparency is the best way, and whether someone gets their information from that person or otherwise, the information's out there.
Yeah.
So I think my thing around surgery. My thing around surgery is that your body, your rules, my body, my rules. It's really tricky because it's not actually something I've given a lot of thought to about people sharing what they've done. Like, yay for transparency. Yeah. Maybe it's a trend that I've not seen as much.
Part of the reason you said, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that you felt like if you went ahead with the surgery, what message were you then sending your daughter if you were like, the only way I can feel good about myself is to nip and tuck and whatever.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to do that.
That's right.
So I feel like it's so complicated because there's women that I know who I think are great and they're posting and being really honest about having procedures done, but they have daughters. And it's so tricky then. How do you say, my body, my choice, I'm doing this to feel good about myself and it's fine because that's what I need to do for me.
Yeah.
But then convince your daughter that she should love herself the way she is, and if she says she needs to change something, say, no, you don't. You're perfect as you are.
Oh, that's going to be a really hard one to sell.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yeah, I'm not even sure if that's possible.
Yeah.
I'm not even, let me think about this. Yeah, because it's not black and white either. So, and it's very complex, and us human beings we're so nuanced in our little ways. I mean, I haven't necessarily seen people posting about their cosmetic surgery and then being like, but love the skin you're in. I don't know. I mean, show me this. Like, is this a real thing?
It's a real thing.
Yeah,
I've seen a few people doing it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that's that's their choice, right?
Yeah.
That they can do whatever they want to do. I guess it would be judging of us to...
Yeah, I guess I'm just intrigued to see how that plays out, like how you can make that work. Because I even think, I've got my nieces, like I said, but I've also got a younger sister who recently turned 17. And over the years, I've often had her in my mind of the jobs that I say yes to and the things that I post and the things that I say. It's like a Harriet filter. I'm like, would I be comfortable with her seeing this? And would I be comfortable with her wanting to emulate what I'm doing. And I don't think it's, been a hindrance at all. I think it's just been a good way to think that I want to make sure I'm being a good role model for her.
Yeah.
So I love that that's what you talk about is I think a good way to take a step back and think about how you're treating yourself is if your daughter or the person that one of the people that you care about most in the world, if you were happy for them to hear the way that you're talking to yourself. No, if you weren't happy for them to hear that, then it's probably time to shift it.
Yeah, I see what I see what you're saying, and I think it's actually a really beautiful lens that sometimes it's really hard to do these things for ourselves, but it's easy to do it for others. So it's really kind of you've got a very your sister is very lucky to have you as a role model and making those choices. For me, I mean, I said it earlier. I used to be really black and white, but now the older you get, the kind of more you have more sort of, what's the word? Not patience, but you have more understanding that people are often just doing their best. And those people that might be having surgery might think, well, I'm doing a good thing because I'm being transparent. For me personally, I have to walk the talk. In all areas of my life. So I have a non-photoshopping policy in every contract for any cover of magazine or any photo shoot that I've done. And only recently I woke up, I was doing this major photo shoot and I had a gold, so I was like, oh my God, here we go. And just it stayed in. And that's just the way it goes. So, and I feel really good about some of those decisions. I think everyone just has to do the best they can do.
Yeah. That's a good answer. Well done.
Is it? I don't know.
I think it is. I think I did say that was my last question, but after you saying all of that, I have one more.
Okay.
What do you think people on social media could do better?
Is to show up in all the ways that we live and are human. So don't just show the shiny best bits, like that Steve Furtick quote, don't compare your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. Don't just show the shiny highlight reel, show what's behind the scenes too. But also just make it more important about what you're doing and how you're contributing to the world as opposed to what you look like, just striking a bit more of a balance there.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you. Now, I finish every episode with a segment called Oranges and Lemons.
Ruh-roh.
Your orange is something positive that might have happened today or the last few days. And then your lemon is something more negative that, a bit more sour that has happened equally today or could have been yesterday, last few days. I can go first if you want to have a moment to think.
Go on.
Okay. I think my lemon is the fact that I tried to get you a coffee. And the cafe that I usually go to, it was a few minutes to actually, they closed half an hour early. So
outrageous.
Yeah, they were shutting. So they were like, oh, so sorry, you can't get anything. So then I thought, that's fine, I'll get an Uber Eats delivery. But then I put through the order, the guy was on a bike and I was like, that's interesting. I don't know how those coffees are going to go. They did not go well. They fell, they rocked up, they were all over the place and you haven't really had any. I don't know if that's because
I've had half. Hang on, let me make you feel better. It's a great coffee.
No, you don't have to have it.
Iced coffee.
I feel so bad because I really like to give the guests, offer a coffee. I think it's nice to have your hot drink of choice waiting and it just didn't go to plan.
Did you know what I drank?
I asked Karen.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah. Soy latte with a little bit of honey. So yeah, that was a lemon. But my orange has been having you in this seat. As I mentioned at the start, I've admired you for so many years and you really did have a huge impact on my recovery. So thank you.
Oh, that's really lovely of you to say. And I'm going to riff off the back of that because my orange is you sharing that with me because it's the reason I do the work. And I'm not going to get sad, but it's just like that's my everything is having an impact on people. So thank you.
Oh, I had to sip my coffee so I wouldn't get teary. Now you're getting teary, so I can't look at you.
I've got the tongue at the roof of my mouth, not working. Can't talk at the same time.
Oh no.
But no, that's my orange. So thank you. That's really kind. My lemon, this is a good one. This happened yesterday. So I filmed all day I'm not very great on the small detail. I love the big picture thinking, and I'm very bad at things like Ubers or just small stuff. So I travel with the co-executive director, Dr. Zali Yeager, a lot, in the States and here and everywhere. And she's always the one that organises like, okay, we've got to be here and I'll get the Uber and I'll do this. And so yesterday after 10 hours of filming, I was like, I've got the Uber, and I felt so proud of myself that I'd organised something. Anyway, we were staying at Lanson Place, Parliament Gardens. But half an hour later, I was driving. I was like, this is really weird. Where are we? And I'd put Lanson Noodle Bar, not Lanson Place. And we ended up like half an hour the other way. This is after 10 hours. And we were like, but we've got a Chin Chin dinner reservation. I'm like, I'm so sorry, we're going to be late. It was a real doozy of a lemon that we were just like randomly that way when we're supposed to be that way.
Oh, no.
So sorry, Dr. Zali Yeager, I will never order an Uber again. What an idiot.
Oh, I feel like it's kind of, they talk about weaponized incompetence. You're like, well, I can't do it. I know I can't do it. So you have to leave it to someone else.
Karen and Zali are so efficient at all the things. I've become basically an idiot. No, that's
passenger princess.
It cost me $120 to get from somewhere just to go to the city. Anywho.
An expensive mistake.
It was.
Thank you so much for being here, Taryn, and for all of the incredible work you do. It is honestly such a joy to watch, and I look forward to seeing what you continue to do over the next few years.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to Tell Me More. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a review, share it with your friends, and follow or subscribe to the podcast. Your help in growing this community would mean so much to me.